Welcome back, brethren. Episode 4 already, and we're still getting away with it. Last month, we heard about the important work of the Provincial Almoner and the MCF here in Norfolk, and how the help and advice isn't just of a financial nature.
One of the big things at the moment is giving people support and guidance on social care system. So a lot of our calls, a lot of commissions are for people that actually just need some proper guidance, some proper advice from us about the social care system and how to navigate your way through that.
If you haven't caught up with that episode yet, there's still time to download it from the Norfolk Freemasonry website or from wherever you get your podcasts. This month, it's a busy episode, so you best get yourself settled in. We've sent Dobbin out to the shops to get some more jammy dodgers. Later, we'll be crossing to East Tuddenham and catching up with all the action from the festival firewalk. First, though, we best plump up the cushions in the northeast corner and be on our best behaviour as we welcome not one, but two grand officers to the podcast studio.
From the horse's mouth, the Norfolk Freemasonry Podcast.
A very, very warm welcome to the podcast studio. So who are you? What do you do?
Kevin Hodds, Past Assistant Grand Director of Ceremonies, Past Provincial Grand Director of Ceremonies. Good afternoon, Jono.
Good afternoon.
Terry Larkowsky. I'm also Past Assistant Grand Director of Ceremonies, and I was the Assistant Provincial Secretary for 4 years, and then I did the Provincial Grand Secretary's role for 7 years.
So which local lodges do we know you both from? Where might brethren have seen you?
Well, I'm in East Norfolk Lodge, 5496 in Great Yarmouth. I'm also a member of Installed Masters as well.
Me, I'm a member of Richard Gurney Lodge, 8387, Installed Masters, Provincial Stewards. So you would have seen me all over the place. In fact, I don't spend much time at home.
So for those of us a little bit further down the ladder, maybe a newly made brother listening who hasn't got a clue what's going on, what all the aprons are, what all the jewels mean, what is a Grand Officer?
If we start off about how we get there, you only get a limited number in this province, 2 a year. So to be a Grand Officer is, I would say, Kevin, is an absolutely huge honour.
Huge honour.
Absolutely huge. 2 a year, and you look at that and you think, wow. I'm proud to be one, if not a little embarrassed sometimes. What about you?
Especially when you first become one and you walk into a lodge and you get saluted with 3, that is somewhat embarrassing.
Because...
But you get used to it.
We ain't changed.
No, quite.
We're still the same. And I think that's the nicest thing about it. And that's the one point we put over. We don't change. People try to change us, but we don't change. Just because you wear a little bit more gold, we don't change. Kevin doesn't. He still eats crayons.
I still eat crayons, yes, indeed. As a stick carrier.
Yeah. And I don't eat my pens because I have to write with them. The Provincial Grand Master proposes you, but ultimately, it's Grand Lodge that decides. And like everything in Masonry, you don't get that for what you've done, but
you get it for what you're about to do and what you're going to do.
Yeah, that's right. Very much the same as in Provincial. When you get your Provincial honours, you've been looked at a long time, and that's always said, this is your first step. You get these for what you're about to do, and that's Masonry across the board, isn't it? You just do it. You get involved.
I guess you're expected to be a fountain of knowledge as well, being a Grand Officer. Do people ask you lots of questions?
They expect you to know the answer to everything. But between us, we do, don't we?
Between the two of us, we do know the answer to absolutely.
Yeah. And if we don't know, we are someone like Mike Goffin.
Exactly.
But if he doesn't know, it's not worth knowing.
There you go.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But it is the job of a Grand Officer to assist the Right Worshipful Provincial Grand Master. And I think that's very important. And we are there to help assist. And if the Provincial Grand Master wants a particular thing done, then we are there to try and organise that for it.
I think as Kevin and I had 2 very senior positions in the province, and we work very closely with, now this is my 3rd Provincial Grand Master in that sense, there has been more, but you suddenly realise what a huge job they've got. And that's not a one-man job. And they've got a team below them, of course, which is the executive. And then below them, we've got lots of people who are doing lots of little jobs. And that's where we come in. But not only we come in, everybody in the province comes in. Because it's a big team, isn't it? Massive team.
It's a huge team, yes.
The Norfolk Freemasonry Podcast.
So as well as a Grand Officer, you're also what's known in the province as visiting officers, which is what you're here to talk about today. It's a very important role across the province. So what is a visiting officer?
A visiting officer is somebody who is throughout Norfolk. There are different areas. Some of them work their visiting officers differently. Some just do it on a rotation and go round to every lodge within that particular area. Others are designated a lodge, and you are there as a friend of the lodge. You are there to help, to assist, to make if they need to know anything, and that is basically your role as a visiting officer.
Yeah, I think you tend to contribute to the well-running of the lodge, making sure that works, making sure that they actually conform. I mean, it's a strong word, but conform to what the Provincial Grand Master wants, and also what the Book of Constitution says. It's so easy to step outside of that, unknowingly step outside of that, and so we try to keep them on track, so that anything, it really is anything. But the important thing is that there is a lot, I can't emphasise this enough, within Grand Officer there's a lot of knowledge that you can bring to it, and that's what we do.
So it's like a mentoring system for
Very much so.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and each Grand Officer brings something to the table. For example, in a former life, as I was Director of Ceremonies, I will go to one of the lodges that I'm a visiting officer for, and I'll go to their LFI and help them out with that.
I tend to sit with the secretary. It's the steadying hand on the shoulder, like, you don't need to worry. This is easy. And to be honest, you don't need me here, do you? You can do this, but, someone else around just for a very short while.
And of course, one of the other important points of a visiting officer is that you are there to uphold the standards of masonry. Since COVID, there's certainly been a lapse in certain areas, and we are there to try and uphold those standards. It is a very special organisation with standards, and I personally expect those standards to be upheld.
It's not like you're there to deliberately whip us all into shape.
No.
It's more of a guiding hand, a friendly.
It's an arm round the shoulder.
That's it.
It's an arm round the shoulder.
Yeah, all round the waist occasionally.
From the horse's mouth, the Norfolk Freemasonry Podcast.
Brethren listening to this might not be aware of the visiting officers scheme because it is quite a new initiative. How is it set up across the province?
The province is divided into 5 areas, and that mirrors almoners and charity stewards, so everybody's used to that. So the 5 areas are there. Teams are set up under the, we call it the leader, the team leader, which is usually a Grand Officer, usually an experienced Grand Officer. And you don't have to be a Grand Officer to be a visiting officer, that's the important thing. But most of them are experienced. They come from the Royal Arch, or they're Masons that have been in a long time, with probably senior ranks within the system. But that's not the team leader's not always exclusively a Grand Officer. If there's somebody, if there's somebody there can deal with it, they're capable and well-informed brethren from across the spectrum, and between the whole team in each area, they decide who's going to visit when. So in the old scheme, it was really put down to one person, and if he can't make that meeting, then you don't get a visitor. You don't get somebody not to be Big Brother. You don't get somebody there to confide in, to talk to, or do whatever. So this way, you get a cross-section, and I like to think that you get more of a holistic approach. I see something in people, you see something in people, and then we communicate along with the rest of the team and say, this is good. Very important when it comes to promotions within the province, because I might see something that Kevin doesn't see, or another visiting officer doesn't see, but together, collectively, we see something in that individual. And we can do that. Troubleshoot, we can, and your favourite word is that we talent spot.
Yeah, exactly. Talent spot. That's what
Who
we
on
do.
earth talent spotted us? We don't know.
No.
But
I think they're dying.
You're like a Masonic Simon Cowell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be trying to impress you now you've said that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, right.
So it's a new initiative. How long's it been running for?
In its present form, we've had a change. We had a change earlier on.
We changed in March.
It started. It was looked at. The visiting officers and the ground officers, quite rightly, had their input. They sought change, and then a few months ago, some of those changes were incorporated. Some of the things which we were doing were removed, because when you're the practitioner, you need to make sure that you know what you're doing. So it's really still in its infancy, but it stems back from the old ground officer system. But this is a lot more dynamic.
Yeah, the old ground officer system kind of worked. It was a bit like the curate's egg. That was good in parts, but yeah, I mean it has changed now, and we've got new younger blood involved who are not ground officers, who definitely bring something to the table.
So you mentioned obviously standards, upholding standards and making sure everybody's sticking to the Book of Constitutions. Is there anything else? Do you have any other aims?
Well, the standards actually goes further than the Book of Constitution. The standards also go to festive board. When I go to a festive board, I do not expect to see brethren standing up and toasting, drinking out of a bottle.
We're a great organisation, and when we turn up, when we as a whole organisation turn up, we like to be smart, don't we?
We do.
You know, not like we just come off the building site. We like to be smart.
Polish.
Yeah, and that was it. And a previous director of ceremonies used to say, if you wear nothing else, wear a smile. But there are standards we do represent, you know. And we get there. Everybody starts off, you know. Some people don't know what an iron is.
Exactly.
What we don't want, I mean, and this is one thing, we don't want to homogenise an entire province. We don't want every lodge to be the same, every lodge to act the same. The beauty of masonry is, especially if you visit, is that each lodge is unique. It has different things, but those different things are their identity. But they have to be the identity of, I really want to go to that lodge. There could be nothing worse than people saying, I never want to go back to that lodge.
Do you ever come across that in your role of visiting officer? You go to a lodge and somebody does something and you're like, oh, no, but it's part of that lodge's tradition.
Yeah, many times.
Yeah.
Many times. One of my favourite used to be is the Tyler and placing the sword on the volume of sacred law. All right, but if you go to 2 lodges in this province, they will show you a letter, and they very quickly put me down and told me, here's the letter, we're allowed to do this. We go back, 50, 60, 100 years.
Yeah.
We're allowed to. And I think the role of a visiting officer and a ground officer is, it's not your lodge. Don't interfere. And if you could say to anybody who aspire to do that, that's the one where you do not interfere.
Yeah. I mean, you can interfere if, for example, the treasurer at the end of the year is going and he proposes that the accounts be adopted. He can't do that. Yeah. And that is one of the instances where you can get involved and you say, I'm sorry, but you can't do that. It's got to be proposed by somebody else.
But that's knowledge, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's where our knowledge comes in. Certain things you can do, certain things you can't do. And that's why we've got a Book of Constitutions. And that's what the provincial secretaries, that's what they're the gatekeeper. They keep that there, you know.
So it's kind of you basically you're passing knowledge down through the generations that isn't written down, and without roles such as yourselves, that knowledge might be lost.
Could be, or bad practice can come in. That's more important. We're always looking for good practice, and it's a two-way street. If we see something that really impresses us, and this is across the board, all VOs, all grand officers, and then we need to do that. You'll recall this, that there's a special part in the address to the brethren which says, if you see something which you admire, copy it. And if you see something, that's not that good, change it, get it changed. Well, that's where we are. That's where we come in. But it's not just it's everybody. We're all in this game together, aren't we?
We are all together. And what we must do, we've got to enjoy ourselves. We've got to want to go to a meeting. And if you go to a meeting and that goes marvellously well, then everybody comes out, the office, not only the officers, the members of the lodge, the visitors, everybody, they come out on a high. So festive board is going to be a fun night.
Of course, when a meeting's gone well, because you just got to look around the festive board and everybody's talking, and
correct.
You can just by the noise you can hear that it's been a good meeting.
Yeah, and what you don't want, you especially as an incumbent master, is when they say, I'm not going back there.
Yes, yeah.
It happens, and then our role is to find out why that's happened. Because like everything, like every organisation in the world, sometimes you get a round peg in a square hole. Maybe that's not what their role is. Maybe that our role is to find them the right role.
Yeah.
I don't know who found me and Kevin.
Not quite.
So somebody who's listening to this, they're probably picturing you as visiting officers. You're sitting in the northeast corner. Maybe do you take notes?
I don't sit in the northeast corner unless I have to.
No, because he sits with the secretary.
I sit with the secretary.
Right.
I think that's only right and proper.
Right.
The convention is you sit there in the northeast corner, but there's nothing written down to say you must.
No, quite.
And maybe that's where we win, where we go out and we join in. I suppose that's the bit. We join in, do everything.
Absolutely.
Do we take notes? Can you write, Kevin?
Only with crayons.
All right.
We need to get back to that story at the end of the podcast.
Yeah. Take notes.
But we do take note. We do make notes, because obviously when you get home you can't remember everything, and if you see somebody who really stands out and you think he had a really great night tonight, then we'll make a little note of that. But nothing onerous, nothing bad or anything.
We're not Big Brother.
We're not Big Brother.
That's the furthest from the truth. We are not Big Brother. We don't report back on your every move. And if we did, we'd be failing on our work. What we need to do is, if we see it there, if we see something that needs to be changed, then do it there and then. Take someone to one side, mention it, do whatever. But we don't make notes for Big Brother, because if we did, we'd never go anywhere and people would not trust us.
Of course. So you don't write a report and send it back after every meeting?
No. But what we will do, as Kevin said, what we will do is we will make recommendations. We could, we'll use you as an example. We could come and say, he's a good master. He was good. He did this. He did that. Whatever. And we're watching talent spotting. We're going back to that talent spotting. What are these people like and whatever? Not everybody can do it, but we're there to actually encourage them, bring them up. So we don't write notes, but we encourage. But if we find something that needs to be nipped in the bud, that's our role.
That's our role.
But there is, like everything else.
But
sometimes that's beyond us.
But it's also part of our roles. If you've got a new guy who's just on the floor as a junior deacon, and they've just done an initiation, and he's had a belter of a meeting, go up to them and say, "You really done well. You are, and that just brings him up, and he'll try hard."
It does. It makes the encouragement makes so much difference.
100%.
If we give adverse comments, and we'd failed, haven't we? We've actually failed in what we're there to do, as to encourage them, to bring people on. You go think about when you first came into masonry. When we first came, we knew nothing. In fact, stick carriers still don't know much.
We know quite a bit about ceremonial.
Yeah.
Something that a secretary wouldn't know about.
You can tell that we're very, very good friends because
Of course, stick carrier, I'm guessing, refers to the wands.
the ones.
Yes.
The DC's wants, yes. And you always must remember that a stick hurts a lot more than a pen.
The Norfolk Freemasonry Podcast.
So we've heard how you help the lodges. Is there anything a lodge can do to help you in your role?
Well, yeah. I think the first thing the lodge needs to do is to help themselves. We don't have the answers. We cannot interfere in what they do. And you get a lot of that. Oh, we want to do so-and-so, but the old boys won't let us do this and whatever. No. That's lodge politics. That's not us. We don't deal with that.
I mean, personally, I will go to lodge GP meetings and just talk to them.
Join in, encourage.
Yeah.
As we've said that. Sometimes you might be asked to do a piece of ritual. Grand Lodge certificates, that's the norm. That's the norm. And everybody's got a different sign on it. The one thing which the listeners won't understand this, but when I go, I try to keep quiet. Now, everybody will find that like, what, Terry, keep quiet?
Absolutely.
But, listening's a skill. And you do pick a lot up with a listening skill. Advisory, look for potential. And I think treat us not as something there that's authoritative, but someone there to help. We're always there to help. And if the brethren that know, Kevin and I and a number of grand officers and whatever, and visiting officers, we want as much fun out of this as they do. So we're quite happy to sing. We're quite happy to, be part and parcel of the whole thing, which is fantastic.
Yes, I hope that we are approachable. And if anybody, whoever, the initiate on the night, if he feels that he can come up to us and ask a question, I think we've succeeded in doing carrying out the role.
Goes back to the old some must learn to submit and obey, and some must learn to teach.
Indeed.
And in the end, everybody learns to teach because everybody moves up.
The Norfolk Freemasonry Podcast.
Terry, Kevin, it's been an absolute pleasure and a joy to welcome you to the From the Horse's Mouth podcast studio. Before the end of the podcast, we're going to be crossing to East Tuddenham to catch up with the goings-on at the Provincial firewalk. Before we do that, just a small matter of the From the Horse's Mouth podcast mugs to hand out. Everybody who comes on the show gets one. There you go, Kevin. There's yours.
Thank you very much, Jono.
Yours has got the handle on the inside.
Yeah.
Terry, there's yours.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
I do collect mugs. I drink a lot of tea.
Complete with a picture of Dobbin.
Okay, fine. Excellent.
Lovely. Thank you very much for that. That's great.
Gentlemen, it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So Sunday, 29th of September, it was the much anticipated Festival Firewalk. Let's saddle up Dobbin and head over to East Tuddenham. Well, here we are at East Tuddenham Village Hall. It's the Provincial Firewalk, Sunday afternoon. Just before 3 o'clock, we've started the afternoon with our cream teas. Our afternoon teas, very nice. Fine food, fine china, and a fake and a mukes providing the amazing musical accompaniment whilst we munch on our afternoon teas.
Hello, Keir, how's the food?
Very good, excellent. Never had it so good in all my life.
Right, nice brew, nice bit of cake.
Absolutely, cake, donuts, you name it, all good, healthy food. My favourite.
You brought the family with you today?
Absolutely. Good lady Jackie's going to be doing the firewalk, has raised copious amounts of cash. She'll tell you how she feels about it now.
How you feeling, Jackie?
Nervous.
I'm going to be doing it as well. I'm looking forward to the safety briefing.
Yeah, me too. Very much looking forward to that.
I don't know about you, but I'm totally clueless, which is, nothing unusual this end. I wish you the best of luck for it.
Thank you very much.
And this next song is called Don't Worry. So if you're going on the firewalk, don't worry.
So we've moved outside the village hall. We're in the car park at the moment. One of the victims is Brother Jack from Watton Lodge. Jack, how are you feeling?
I'm fine.
Now, we're actually going to follow you through your firewalk.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Are you apprehensive at all? Do you know what yourself? Have you done any research?
I haven't done any research. I'm not apprehensive. I'm quite keen to just get it done. I'm not nervous. I don't know, I'll just chill. Should I be worried?
So we're moments away from the firewalk now. The coals have been spread over the car park of the village hall here at East Tuddenham. There's a big crowd, good support. Jack.
Hello.
Jack, who's our willing victim who's doing the firewalk. How are you feeling?
I'm just glad the motivational talk is over.
We have had a rather extensive
2 hours,
for want of a polite word, motivational instructional talk. But we're now at the moment we're standing in the car park. You still got your shoes on?
Yeah, I'll take them off in a minute.
All right, so we need to take off our shoes and socks.
Yeah. It's like when you've had 4 weeks of LOI and you finally got your meeting at the end of it. We've gone through the 4 weeks of LOI and we're now ready to do the meeting.
We are. What have you learnt from the motivational instructional lecture?
Well, after 2 hours of hard listening, I've known to walk purposefully.
Don't forget to step off with your left foot.
Yes, I will be stepping off with my left foot.
I don't know who's got the biggest fire though. Is it the barbecue with Tracy or is it the coals on the car park? They are glowing red hot. So what are the secrets of firewalking that you've learnt?
To walk purposefully. Mind over matter.
Exactly. Take your shoes off and just go for it. Yes. It's all for a good cause. How hot did he say?
1,250 degrees.
Here he goes. Go on, Jack. Go! Yay! And we've done it. Well done, Jack.
Thank you very much. It was ready for a burger now and a beer.
And we even got treated to the bagpipes at the end. What a wonderful day. Congratulations to everybody who worked so hard. Keep your eyes on the socials. We'll let you know how much it raised for the festival very soon. Next month on the podcast, we're going to be catching up with Worshipful Brothers Martin Day and Neil Morley and finding out the role they play around the province of Norfolk.
From the horse's mouth, the Norfolk Freemasonry Podcast.